Mr. Chair, I was gonna remove new business item number one. That was something I had on there. If somebody, when the motion's made, just to remove.
All right, if I get a motion for, with the, correction that, Ms. Washington pointed out.
Second.
All right, I have a motion second to adopt the agenda with the correction for number one on the new business being eliminated. All those in favor? Aye. All right, all those opposed, same sign. Petition from the public. Okay. Approval of minutes from regular meeting held, April 19th, 2019, and also approval of minutes for the special held meeting, April 15th, 2019.
So moved. Approved.
I have a motion to approve the minutes. I have a second. I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Would you refer and play, please?
Thank you very much. Would you be so kind?
Let's thank you. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that you've given us, and we thank you for the many blessings you provide us each day. We pray that you be with each and every person represented here today, that the business before this board is pleasing in your sight. And I ask that you reach down your healing hand on anyone that is sick and distressed, that they may be comforted any time the sickness they may have. We ask that you be with our first responders and our military, Lord, and protect them as they protect us. In all these names we say, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please accept my apology. Get carried away there. All right, report from constitutional officers, Sheriff.
Nothing right now, thank you.
All right, any other constitutional officers? I don't think I see any more back there. Okay. All right, motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
A motion and a second. All those in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All those in favor, opposed, same sign. Okay, we have no unfinished business. Looks like we have nothing on public works. We'll move on down to new business. We have the proclamation for National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, and I see some nice dispatchers just walked in to join us. Appreciate Terry Lemons and her group coming in to be with us. Oh, yes. If you'll pass the proclamation over, I might ask the clerk to read it.
This proclamation for National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, April 14th to 20th, 2019. Whereas emergencies are occurring all the time that require law enforcement, fire, or emergency medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of law enforcement, firefighters, and paramedics/EMTs is critical to the protection and preservation of life and property. And whereas the safety of our law enforcement, firefighters, and paramedics/EMTs is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Madison County Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our law enforcement, firefighters, and paramedics/EMTs by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them with critical information and ensuring their safety. And whereas the professional and caring public safety telecommunicators of Madison County have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has and continues to exhibit compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job. Therefore, be it resolved that the Madison County Board of County Commissioners declares the week of April 14th to the 20th, 2019 to be National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Madison County, and honor the men and women whose diligence, compassion, and professionalism keep our county and citizens safe. Signed in the regular session this 24th day of April 2019.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve this resolution. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Pass 5-0. Let me get a picture with. All right,
Terry, would you like to introduce the
Yeah,
people
Terry.
that you have with you today?
Yeah.
First and foremost, we'd like to thank y'all for doing the proclamation. I know that really makes our department happy, and we really appreciate all y'all's support. These are the young ladies that just got off shift. We have other ones coming in. They weren't able to come because they do have to man the station. This is Amy Pitts, Marisol, and I apologize. She has this name that is like, yeah. And Sarah Abbott, and we just greatly appreciate the recognition. It means a lot to us. Our sheriff and our command staff, showed us our praises last week, and it just means something when it comes from the public as well, and from you guys.
I just wanna thank y'all for what all y'all do. I know it ain't an easy job, but y'all do a good job. Just thank y'all.
And I'd like to echo that. I've been in there, I've seen what y'all do, and I have heard you, I live right behind, I know when Life Flight comes in 24/7. And, I wanna thank you personally for everything y'all do. You do a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanna ditto what's been said. It's got to be a stressful job, but I know y'all get a lot of strange calls sometime, and, I know you're very helpful to the public, because when there's situations out there that come up, and people automatically dial 911. So, and I'm glad we have that system here in Madison County.
I want to say the same thing. There's sometimes I do monitor the scanner, and I listen to, sometimes when the deputies are out trying to locate a problem or whatever, you guys are the calming force sometimes that brings them back and helps them find where they need to be, and is their anchor, so we appreciate what you do.
Thank y'all so much. I know that y'all have a lot of different radios out in front of you, and keyboards, and all of them having to communicate between the EMS and fire and law enforcement all at the same time. It's very, very difficult to juggle all the things you do each day, and I know it's very stressful, but thank you so much.
Yes, sir, I do want to mention a couple of things about these guys. They are truly special guys. This is only 1/3 of them. I can tell you that these our communications people have more contact with the public than any other person in the sheriff's office. And, you talk about the number of calls. I mean, I know the deputies are averaging between 75 and 100 calls, and that's only the deputies. That's not the police department, fire department, and all the other stuff that goes on. And when you listen to a scanner, you're only listening to a little small amount of what's going on behind the scenes. If you've been down there to the communication center, there's like 4 screens that each of them are sitting at, and plus the phone, plus the FDIC, NCIC, all those other things that have to be certified in, and conduct themselves with daily. I mean, it literally takes off almost a year for someone to get where they're comfortable sitting at one of those stations by themselves. I can tell you that these people are very important to me, and they're very special to us, and we do take care of them. And I'll hurt your feelings real quick over them, so I don't mind doing that, because I can hire deputies. It's hard to hire deputies, but when you're trying to hire these guys and keep them in place is very important. We hired one of our most recent communications people came from Hamilton County, and I thought the sheriff from over there was gonna call me out to a gunfight. Hell, we got sheriff. I mean, that's how serious this is. I appreciate these guys. What they do, I could stand here and tell you the rest of the day about that, but I can tell you, 1979, when I started in communications and in the jail down there. We had 4 dispatchers, and they were through the board. They were board department. Madeline Ginn used to write my checks. We only had 4. Now we have 12. And by God, it takes every one of them to keep up with it. I mean, the call ratios have changed so much. It's crazy. We're a very needy people, and they deal with that. Fortunately, only a small portion of what they deal with gets translated into calls for the deputies or the police department or fire department. if they didn't triage all that, we'd never even think about keeping up. So if you ever, wonder what they do, feel free to come down one day and sit in there. I know recently one of the no-name storms that we had, not even a name storm, but a no-name storm within a 2-day period, it was over, what, 2,000 and something calls they logged in there? It's constantly. And plus they have the interstate calls, the cell phone calls from the interstate, all of that, the pass through, all that goes straight down. There's about 9 lines for that. So anyway, I can speak to her today, but I do appreciate y'all recognizing them. And, any chance that you get to, give them credit, I appreciate you doing that for sure.
Sheriff, I wanna thank you for your comments, because, I will remember 1979 when you started down there. It was 1980 when I started on reserve, and you remember, we all used to pitch in something, we get called in and just come work the radio. I couldn't begin to do what these ladies do now. None of us could do it. It was a whole different game 25 years ago.
I don't even like going in there. I mean, that's just scary going in there. It's just but I can tell you this, we are in a whole lot better shape right now because of that building. When about 10 years ago, we were in an old office, a little sick building that was causing everybody to get sick, and with the help of this board, with the help of some traffic ticket money and a grant, we've got that new building, and also for EMS. EMS was in a building that was falling down and full of mold. And these guys were in an old office, my old office, matter of fact, down at the sheriff's office. So that transition that this county did with that new building out there, I'm gonna tell you, has paid off, and it's been worthwhile, and it was certainly worth the effort, and I appreciate that. That's made, our ability so much better than what it was. But anyway, with that, I just wanted to say that, and I thank y'all, and you said you guys wanted to take a picture.
Let's get a picture with them. All right?
Can you guys just line up over here? I'll give it to you.
Well, I thought we were getting a picture with the nicest ladies.